Nathalie Miranda, and I am a singer-songwriter from London. Thank you. Okay, so I mean, I was brought up in a household just surrounded by music. My mum loves music. She would play records all the time, ranging from like Queen to Whitney to a lot of Greek music, because that's my background. So I grew up surrounded by it. But I think as I got older, I realized that it was actually something I had to do. It was something I loved to do and really enjoyed to do. But I was a very shy kid. I had a lot of hang-ups. You know, the usual, you know, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not whatever, you know, I'm not popular, all that kind of stuff. And I struggled to sort of show that other side of myself. So I would sing in my bedroom with my stereo turned up to the max. So not even my parents knew that I could sing or liked to sing.
You were singing underneath it, basically. They were like, oh, she's just playing her music loud. Fair enough.
Yeah, basically. And I mean, piano is something I started playing the piano when I was 5, like classical piano, which I'm very grateful for now. But I knew that singing was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I was a really slow and a very late starter. And it wasn't till I was about 15 that I went on holiday and with my family, and there was a karaoke night at the hotel.
Oh, nice start.
And yeah, it's kind of cheesy, but I was kind of like, there was something inside of me that was like, I have to do this now, because if I don't do it now, I'm just not going to do it. And I knew that
And at 15.
Yes, 15. So that was
like the worst in the air and changing. You don't know who you are, what's going on with your body, your mind.
Absolutely.
And you heard that voice. I like it.
That was like the peak of my insecurities as well. But I was like, I have to do it. So I asked my mum, bless her, will you get up and sing a song first? And she was like, what? Oh, do I have to? And I was like, you have to, otherwise I'm not going to do it. And she was like, okay. So she got up and sang a song. And then I sang Hopelessly Devoted to You from Greece.
Yeah.
With my back to the audience. And I was terrified, but I actually got a standing ovation, and it really, my family was shocked, and we had friends there as well, and they were just like, oh my God,
where did that come from?
Yeah, so that was the kind of drive, that kind of, once I got over that hurdle, I was like, okay, I can do this. So, and I'd been writing songs for many years, so I had a bunch of stuff ready to record. So after that, we came back to London and we found a local studio. I did some demos, and it's just kind of gone from there. When I look back at those early songs, I mean, I started writing when I was about 9 or 10, and they were just kind of like silly little like poems, essentially, with some music attached to them. Then as I got a bit older, they became a bit deep, like the world doesn't understand me. I'm like a misfit. Everyone hates me, all that kind of stuff. You know? Like, why can't I fall in love?
The usual teenage angst, right?
Yeah, the usual stuff. And, I mean, they're things I would never like release now because they're just stuck there. But as I got older, you know, they evolved into, you know, more talking about experiencing love or frustrations or whatever it might be. And somehow it's evolved over the years into writing. Well, I say somehow, I know why. I write a lot about empowerment and about never giving up and kind of fighting. And I do that because, I'm sure we'll discuss this, but I do that because my whole career has been rejection, basically, and people writing me off and not believing in me, not giving me a chance. And I think so many years of that just made me be like, well, whatever, fine, I'm not going anywhere. I'm actually going to come back stronger, and I'm going to annoy you even more because I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. It's, I mean, I'm sure every artist goes through it at least twice a week. You're just like, what am I doing? I need to just stop and forget in music. And I think about that a lot of the times, and it's due to frustration. But I then realized that, you know, I've got so much more to say, and a lot of my fans have reached out to me and said, like, you know, that song really inspired me, or I'm so proud of you carrying on and stuff like that, you know. And the tags I put on that reel were, yes, I'm not viral, I'm not famous, I've been written off 100 times, but I'm still fighting. And that actually was inspired by, I couldn't sleep one night. I was up at like 3 a.m. and I happened across this girl who has gone viral. She's, you know, everywhere on the internet, and people just kind of jump on the bandwagon and they go, oh, you're amazing. Why aren't you doing this? Oh, you're fantastic. And it got me thinking, like, if she hadn't gone viral, you still wouldn't know who she was.
Yeah.
And people base so much of their, like, they kind of just go with what's a thing. And that applies to the industry as well. I mean, they don't give anyone else a chance. It's like, and I feel like that's, I wasn't around in like the 50s and 60s or anything like that, but I feel like back then, from what I can see, that they were a bit more open-minded. They could see something and maybe want to work with it and not want everything ready for them. Nowadays, they expect us to be singer, writer, producer, promoter, manager, tour manager, everything.
Right from the start.
It has its pluses, because as an independent artist, you can be in control of your look, who you work with, and stuff like that. But for me, the whole social media and the promotion thing is the worst thing. I absolutely hate it. I would rather watch paint dry and like anything than that. And I feel stupid doing it. I feel silly saying, hi, I'm Nathalie Miranda and this is my new song.
Yeah.
I feel like the pressure on the independent artist today is almost ridiculous. It's like, for one, especially if you're on your own and you don't have a team around you like me, it's just impossible. And when I release a single, I have a list of everything I need to do. So I've got to do this, I've got to apply for this, I've got to register this and do this and this and this and this and this. And it does get too much sometimes. And I mean, but if you don't do it, you end up not even being seen. So it's like, it's a constant struggle.
I also don't, but then at the same time, what music and like, I don't know how to put a filter and the right hashtag on it. Like, I don't even think about that.
I mean, it's something I've learned, especially since 2020. I really went headfirst into social media. I spent a lot of time focusing on, you know, what I was outputting. I was recording video upon video to have for content. And I mean, the industry's changed so much. Like, obviously, when I started out, it was a whole different scene. It was, you get signed, you sing, you tour, and that's it. Now, you don't get signed. It's almost impossible to get gigs. And, you know, if you don't have a band, or if you don't, I mean, I play the piano, but I don't do that when I perform my music. I have to get someone to do that. I have to pay them, which I don't always have the budget for. And then I have to do all the promo as well. And it's just like, that isn't what I signed up for. So,
so how does that? This is.
I mean, I think, so I grew up, you know, in a time when everything was acceptable. So, you know, we had Madonna, we had Michael Jackson, we had Cher, anyone back then. And in the 90s in the UK, we had like Britpop, you know, and all that kind of stuff. There was so many genres that were all in the charts. I mean, I don't know what it was like in the States, but here there was everything. There was even metal. There was all sorts of things. And I loved that. I went out and I bought like a Coolio cassette, you know, which I would never have thought I'd buy, but I loved Gangsta's Paradise. I went and bought it, you know, and I'm inspired by so many different styles and artists and things that how people say things. And I see an artist like Madonna who changed every single album. She changed her appearance, her genre. And it was something that was applauded back then. It was like, oh, she's reinvented herself. Amazing. And now it's like, I get told all the time by industry types, why don't you just do this? Or why don't you just do this? And I said, well, why should I? I'm not famous. No one cares about my music. I may as well take the opportunity to get everything out of me that I never had the chance to do when I was growing up, because it wasn't a time
to be able to,
we didn't have those opportunities back then. And, you know, had I been young now, it would be a whole different story. But it's, you know, I'm not willing to kind of sort of sacrifice that thing about me. And I liked, I mean, I'm even planning to release a country song at some point that I wrote many years ago, but I loved that kind of music. And I feel like a lot of people, because I do a lot of powerful songs. And I've also done quite a lot of dance collaborations with people. People a lot of the time think that that's all I do, but you know, I do have a softer side to my voice, and there's been a couple of singles I've released recently that show that, and people are like, oh my God, we didn't know you could sing like that. And I'm like, I'm a singer. I don't just do one thing. I like to experiment. And I think, you know, and I think that's what makes me more stubborn as well. You know, if people can't see that, then that's fine. You don't have to like me, but just move on. Go to something you do like. I'm going to keep doing my thing.
Because it was like, whoa, you changed everything. I'm out, dude. Like, you know, and to put that sound together.
Exactly. Like, and I have actually quite a funny story. I recently released a Spanish song called Terremoto, and I wanted to do that for many years because I studied languages at university, and I love Spanish. So I wrote it and released it in October, and one of my really hardcore Latin American fans wrote me a message on Instagram and told me that I was a traitor and that I was like the worst person in the world because they don't like reggaeton. And the song was reggaeton. And I was like it was a long message, really, really quite a horrible message. And I responded by, I'm sorry you feel that way. And I'm sorry that, you know, you're no longer a fan, but I'm an artist. And if I want to do reggaeton, I'm going to do reggaeton. And I'm sorry that you're now they're no longer a fan, but you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like if you can please yourself and your sort of, you know, basic fan base. Then that's all you can do.
That's right. From No Veil. You talked about artists all like that's where they made money. So it's kind of like your bread and butter.
I love performing live. I don't get to do it as much as I used to, sadly, for original music at least. Because as I said, it's quite hard to secure gigs over here. But I love it. And when I do get, even if it's a small crowd like that video you saw, there was about 30 people in a very small space. But it was just the best. And I've done a lot of live streaming in the last 3 years because obviously we were all stuck at home, and it's been great for me financially, but I feel stupid doing it, just singing to a phone or singing to a laptop. That's not what I want. I'm about the interaction. I'm about, you know, having my guitarist there or even if it's my backing track, whatever, just having that feeling. And I mean, I love it. It's what I live for. And I dream of having my own band one day and being on stage with, like, you know, some backing singers. And oh my God, I can't tell you what that would do for me. It was just my absolute dream, but it's just never happened. And one day maybe.
How does the drum?
Oh my God!
How do you keep moving through all this?
Do you know what? It's really hard, and I actually do have some tears in my eyes right now just thinking about it. It's like it's so hard. It's so hard to keep going, but there's also this part of me that really, and it's kind of a bad part of me that wants to prove so many people wrong. I want to. Like, let's just be ridiculous. I win a Grammy, right? I'm holding this Grammy, and I've already practiced the speech. I have
no doubt.
Seriously, like, I would dedicate it to everyone that put me down or rejected me or told me I wasn't good enough. And I would also dedicate it to all the underdogs, the people that don't get given the chance. Because I feel it like it's that keeps me going, and it's that I feel like I need to prove it also to myself, but also mainly to these people that never gave me the time of day, or, you know, called me names or didn't see what I was trying to do or whatever it might be. I just feel like then, and also people that are quite ageist. I mean, I'm 40 years old. I'm happy. I don't hide my age, but I feel like, and it's a thing, you know, like they find out you've been on the scene for a bit and they're like, oh, we can't use you because we can't tell you what to do, you know? I think that's why I'm not giving up. And I mean, I've had countless day jobs over the years, and at the same time as doing music. But at the end of 2020, I quit my job, and I was just like, I just can't do it anymore. I need to devote all my time to music. And it's hard, like it's really hard, like with that money coming in every month like it used to.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know how long I'm going to have this fire inside of me, but for now it's there. And I really have so many people I want to just be like, you know, want them to feel empowered and inspired and to know that they're not on their own. Like I deal with a lot of topics in my single Echoes, for example, is about the struggles I went through growing up, and the most personal song ever. So for example, I want people to hear that and feel like, oh, she went through that too, you know, or wow, this makes me feel like I can overcome anything, you know, or that kind of thing. And I just want people to feel like they've gone on a journey and they're feeling something, and that, you know, you should never give up. You should always fight for what you believe in. Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you.